Hello, my name is Navigator, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the fate of the citizens of Helvetia and Horizon's Rest. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys are playing the new Fashnacht event that has returned to Fallout 76, which takes place in the beautiful town of Helvetia. And while you're down there you might see a lot of the scorched bodies and the scorched statues, whatever you want to call them, the petrified corpses, and you might be wondering if that is what happened to the inhabitants of Helvetia. Well, that did happen to a lot of them, and considering how close Helvetia is to Vault 76, we can also assume that a lot of the inhabitants, probably some of the higher ups, made it to that vault and ended up surviving. You know, some of those guys might be out in the wasteland today. But anyways, none of that's important. What I want to talk about today is what happened to the surviving survivors, I guess, of Helvetia. And that brings us literally, I want to say, 100 feet away from the town to this kind of sprawling complex of old plain parts, which is called Horizon's Rest. So I'm going to do my best to kind of point out the two main structures here from the position that I'm in. The biggest one is going to be over here on the hill, and that's going to be, the Horizon airline plane itself. You can see here, it's completely destroyed. This is the main hull of it, I would assume, and a lot of the scrap metal is kind of taken out of there, stuff like that. Now on the inside there's nothing really important to what I'm going to be talking about today. What we are going to be discussing, though, is the main structure, which a lot of survivors actually, salvaged parts from the plane here and made this massive settlement, which is Horizon's Rest. So, while I was exploring this, because I don't know if you guys are really watching my videos, but I have a new camp right down there, my new Fashnacht camp, and I was kind of like, what if I go check out this little location nearby? And I guess I ended up making a video about it. But I see all of these dead settlers here. Now, there were super mutants here, and they were pretty vicious. Took me a little bit to get through all of them. But I find all these bodies, and, I'm going through all of these rooms in this, kind of hodgepodge, mix-match, jerry-rig settlement here. And the rooms are cool, and, this place is great, but there's no notes. There's no anything like that, except for one. So I'm going to give you just a brief kind of show of what this place looks like, although you guys can just come here yourself and get the full rundown. There's no notes or anything here. I was super surprised. No computers, at least in the main area here. But as we go over to the north side of the complex, and hopefully I can get up here with my jetpack, there's kind of these little like huts or whatever you want to call them. And for the most part, they look like, they were lived in, or maybe they were storage rooms, whatever it may be. Looks like I'm out of AP. Lived in, obviously, with some dead bodies there. Somebody was living in here. But as we get to the end of it, there is a specific one that kind of looks like a prison. It's got the jail door on there, and we find a body on the inside of a raider, which is a little surprising because I don't really think raiders were here. However, just behind that, we find a note that says Horizon's Rest Armory. Let's read this. Nathan, I can't believe Ella convinced everyone to pool their weapons and lock them in the armory hanging from the tower. Well, now we know there's an armory hanging from the tower. Thank you, I appreciate that. That idiot's been running the show ever since we left Helvetia, but I think it's time for a change. I stole her key to the armory and left it under the flower pot in my shack. Let's see her try to call the shots now. Alright, I'll show you guys the armory in a second because you might as well take a look at it. But what we can learn from this note, and this is again the only piece of lore that we have at this location, is that a woman named Ella, who, from the second part we can assume was a resident of Helvetia, gathered everybody together to come and live here, and it looks like she convinced all of them to put their stuff in the armory, and somehow this corpse, or whoever was formerly in here, managed to get a key to that. So in this cell over here, or not cell, little area, there's a flower pot in here. It might be on this chair here. I use explosive rounds, so stuff went scattered all over, but the key is going to be somewhere over here, and hopefully for you guys it'll be in the flower pot or under it, whatever it is. But what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the main complex here, and we're going to find the lowest possible little floor of this, which is going to be this main area right here, and we're going to go down in here. It was kind of cool, this door slides as opposed to opening normally. I thought that was kind of cool. Not really sure how they did that with all the scrap parts and whatever. Nothing important in here though. I just wanted to show you guys this kind of a cool little area. So the last part of the video here is going to be kind of piecing this all together. So let me find a good spot. This might not be bad, although I don't really want to be hearing that music. That is not good for copyright reasons. Alright, so what can we talk about? Alright, again, that note is the only piece of evidence that we have about this entire place. But there is honestly a lot to gather about this. Number one being that the residents of Helvetia saw that this plane crashed over here on the cliffside, and for some reason they believed that this would be a better place to live than their home. That most likely is because of the Scorch Plague. I mean, the Scorch are really infesting Helvetia right now, so we can only assume that that's the major reason they left. Probably a lot of number of things, fallout and all the creatures, all that stuff, and the bombs going off. But for the most part, let's assume that the Scorch Plague was the main reason, although it's not super important. Anyways, they start scrapping the plane. They take off the front, they take off the back, whatever, and they start making this whole home here, everything like that. Everything's going happy and merry, but they get run down by super mutants. The same super mutants that I killed when I first came here, and I wish I still had some of their corpses lying around, but I slurped up all their scrumptious loot. But isn't that crazy? I mean, they built this whole massive thing, and it seems like, there was some kind of beef going on between Ella and some other people, whatever, maybe some kind of love triangle. I'm just messing around, but it's crazy, There's a settlement here that I guess used to be bright and shining and had happy and healthy and safe people, and they just got totally decimated by super mutants that now inhabit it. So I thought that was kind of crazy. I guess I'm stuck in photo mode here. Sorry, folks, but it's just interesting. Like, I guess the people of Helvetia really did not have a happy Fasnacht. I don't know. I just kind of want to talk about this really quick. I was over here messing around, and since there was only really one note to talk about, I figured a discussion kind of video would be the most beneficial. So again, the fate of the citizens of Helvetia was at the hands of a super mutant. They got totally obliterated by the super mutants. And actually, let me show you one little funny thing real quick. Over here, there's a set of 3 bathtubs, and there's one of the settlers inside. So maybe that'll be the thumbnail or something like that. But there you go, folks. The fate of the citizens of Helvetia slaughtered by FEV. I don't know, experimented super mutants. Alright, folks, I'm getting tired here. I have 2 videos that I posted today, one about the Spread the Love event and the other one about my new Fasnacht camp. Be sure to check those out. Check this out. It's like I'm walking or something, huh? I'm just messing around. Alright, folks, that's all I've got for today. My name is Navigator. Have a nice day. Take care.